Yes, students, today's class we will discuss three programs based on the module 2, based on the virtual functions, abstract and properties. Okay, so first program is based on the concept of properties. We have discussed this property and indexer in the theory session. We have discussed properties which will be used to assess the private member of the class. We need now to create different methods to get the values. We can create properties. If you remember, we have done like this. We have created one property and that property is having get and set accessors, and using this get and set accessors we can get the value of the private data member and we can set the value of private data member. So today program we will discuss all the three types of properties. Discuss three types, means in that there will be a method to get the value and there will be a method to set the value of a data member. So reading is also there, writing to the data member is also there. The next property, that is the read only property. In that only we can read the data from that property. We can't set the data or we can't write the data inside the data member in that particular property. And third is, we have discussed a static property that will work only with the static data. And second, to call that static property we will use class name. As we know that to access any static data we need static, we need class name. So here also when we will work with the static property we will use the class name. Otherwise, if we are not creating any static property, we will call the property by using the object. Okay, so I will start with this program. In that, it is asked that C sharp program in which all the properties should be there. So in one program, read only property is also there, read write property is also there, and static property is also there. So under the namespace properties lab program, all the class and all the properties have been defined. The class name is student class and it is having two private data members, name and ID, with of type string. Then I have created one static data member here with the name class name, type string, and I have set the value to MC because for static data members we can set here. Then I have taken one age to set the age of a student. First what I have done is I have done using one constructor. This is the constructor having same name of the class name, and in this I am receiving one variable, that is SID, and that SID value will be given to the current object SID data member. So this is the constructor which is receiving one ID as a value, and that ID will be given to the object who will call to this particular constructor. So using this is my current object dot SID is the ID of current object, SID is the data member of this class, and I will set it. Okay, so one data member have been set using constructor. Okay, I need not to create any property for this data member. One data member is already set using constructor. Now for other data member, properties have been created, and if you will see how you can create property as public, because properties will be public so that you can access the private data through properties. Now type here string because the data it will receive, or a data with this property work, will be of string type. Like it is receiving the data for s name data member. If you can see, s name is of string type, so we will write here string. Okay, then whatever the name you want to give to this property, it is your choice, whatever the name you want to give. Whenever we want to access the data from this property, we will use this name. After that, inside this property, one get accessor, or you can say get method, and one set method is there. According to property concept, get method will only return something. It will not receive anything. It will not receive any parameter. It will only return. So one statement will be there, return, and what we want to return, the s name value. What we want to return is s name value. The set method will receive a value. Okay, when this property will be called, when this property will be called by assigning some value to this property. Okay, then that value will be received by this value keyword, and it will be given to as name. Okay, but now this property is having both the get and set, so this will be called as a read write property. Now the next property is only read property. It will not set anything. It is a read only property. It is only having the get method, that we can use this property to read the value, but we can't use this property to set the value. So inside that, only get option or get method is there, which is returning SID. And if you remember, in the constructor, in this constructor, we have set the value for SID here. We have set the value for SID here, and to get the value of SID, we are using property here. Okay. So two variables have been set. Now the third variable, to set the student age. So here read write property can be used. Again, the name of the property is student age. Now this property is working with integer type data. It will set and return the value of integer type variable. If we will see, the age, as age is of integer type. Okay, so accordingly you will mention here the type of data this property is working with. So the get method will return the essays data member, and set method will set a value that will be given to this property, and it will be assigned to essays data member. So this is a read write property. Now the next property, this is the static property. Okay, so as I told, it will work with the static data member. So what I have done here is, if as I have already given a value, to static data member here, I have already set a value. So this property will only work to return a value. But if I have not set, in main method, if I will use class name dot this, then I can set. But problem here is my data is private. So using properties, I can work with that. So here get to return the class name data member, and set to set the value for class name, and here the static keyword will define that this property is a static type, and string data type will define that the data that we are working class name is of string type. Now these are the ways to define different type of property. That are three types of property in C#. Now how I will call this property, how I will pass the value to set method inside the properties. Okay, so inside main method, inside main program, inside main method, first I will create the object of student class, so student s. Then using new student I am creating, but I am passing the SID, one data member I have taken through constructor. So I am passing here SID is this. Okay, so ID has been set. Now what I need to set, there are two property to set the value. If you will see back, one is to set the student age and another is to set the student name. So to set the values, what I will do, I will use the object of this class, that is S dot, I will use the property name here. I have given the property name as student age. Okay, so I will write object dot property. What value you want to give. I want to give 21 as the age, so I will write 21. Now this 21 will be given to the value variable. If I will go back to set age property, here this value keyword will get that 21 value and it will be assigned to as age. Okay, so in this way you will pass the values to property. Then as dot student name ABCD, so this name will be passed to the student name property. Inside that the value keyword under set method. So now three values have been set: ID, age and name. So we will print those values. Now to print all these values, again we will use the properties, because these data members are defined under the properties. So now if we want to print the values, we will call the get method of each property. Till now these two lines have called the set method. Now we will call the get method of properties. So how we will do is, this is to print a message. Now what message will be printed? That student USN is the message in curly braces to present that first value is getting printed, slash n, that means the next value will be printed at next line, name equal to the second variable, age equal to the third variable. Okay, now to call get method, so that get method will return the value, I will use again the object dot property name, object dot second property name, object dot third property name. If you remember, student ID is the read only property which will only return the ID. Okay, so three property now we have called to get the values. Now fourth property was the static property. So if I want to print the data of static property, you can see I am printing one message, just s dot student name, to assess the name of a student, belong to which class name. Now my property was static property, so to assess that static property I am using here class name, student dot that property name, student dot that property name. So it will print the class name of a student. So when I will run this code, you can see here the student USN is printed, the name, age, and it is belonging to MC, whatever the value I have set for static data member at the starting. So in that way you can use properties to set the values of data members. When we have discussed the features of C# in first module, there one point came was we can use properties concept, and this is the property concept you can use in C#. Now the next program is based on virtual and override. According to your syllabus, it is mentioned, explain an example based on virtual and override keyword. So this is the example. Virtual means we need to redefine that function inside the drive class. So here inheritance and will be there, polymorphism will be there, base class will have one method as a virtual method, and drive class will re-implement that method. It will give its own coding to that method. But when we are redefining those methods, we need to use override keyword. So we will see that code. There are namespace with the virtual and override having both base class and drive class. The base class is the vehicle class having three data members, which is representing distance, hours and the fuel. Okay, for a vehicle, what is the distance value, the number of hours to cover that distance, and how much fuel is required. All are declared using double data type and public access specified. Now one constructor is there, the same name of class. If you can see, same name of class. And this constructor is receiving all the three data member of that class. And whatever the value it will receive, that will be given to the current active object. So using this, we will say that this object means this current object, and that dot distance means the current object data member distance equal to the distance value that this constructor has received. Same for this dot hours equal to the hours value that this constructor have received. This dot fuel that this constructor have received the fuel value. So it is till now it is simple. We have created three data members, and using constructors we are allocating a value to that data member. Now in this class there are two methods. One is defined as a normal method of base class, and one is defined as a virtual method of base class. Okay, so what these methods are doing, one is the average method. Okay, now average method is calculating the average. The formula is distance by fuel. So first one variable have been taken, in under that the value of average will be stored, and it is of type double, so some default values have been set. Then formula is applied to the distance slash fuel, whatever the object will call this function, that object distance and fuel data member will be used to calculate the average, and that average will be printed. Okay. Next, public virtual void speed. Here code is there, but I have made it as a comment. I will show you if I will remove this comment what output I will receive. But let make it as a comment only. But inside that what is going on? Because we want to find the speed according to this method. So one speed variable have been defined by setting some default value using double data type, and the formula have been applied, that is distance by hours, to get the speed, and then speed has been printed. Okay, so this is the now virtual method. Average is non-virtual method, so it is required that the virtual method should be overridden. Okay, so this is our base class having three data members, one constructor, one normal method and one virtual method. Now in drive class, car is the drive class which is inheriting vehicle class. Now the car class is having a constructor which will receive all the three values, the distance, hours and fuel. But this car class has inherited these values from base class. It is not having its own value. Car value have inherited all the three data members from base class. So whatever the value this constructor of car class will receive, it will pass all the three values to base class constructor, and for that using colon we will use the base keyword, and inside that we will pass all the three values. Okay, and This is the way to call a base class constructor inside drive class. And after that this code will do nothing. Only thing is it will pass the data to base class constructor, and if we will see the base class constructor, it will receive all the three values and it will assign the values to all the three data members. After that, the average function is there. Now if you can see, here no override keyword is there. No override keyword is there. That means the previous average function belong to class B and this average function belong to class D. Both have their own method of class, base class and drive class. It is not a overridden method because override keyword is not mentioned here. Inside that same thing is going on. Average variable have been taken, distance by fuel have been taken, and then average is the print. Okay, but the speed method have been overridden because in the base class speed method was virtual method. So to override keyword will be defined when we are overriding. Inside that same implementation, speed distance by r console dot write. Okay, so these are two base class and the virtual class. Now when I will call this in the main method, how I will proceed, as we have to pass three values, distance, hours and fuel, because in both the classes base and drive class both are having constructors, those will receive these values. So first in main method we will get the values of all the three data members like double. Three variables have been defined under main method. Either you can directly give some value to distance, hour and fuel here only manually, or either you can ask user to enter some value. So here it is being asked from user to enter a value. So first message is being displayed console.write line and enter the distance. Now whatever the distance will be received, it will be given to distance variable. How it will be received? You need to use console.readLine method to get a value from user, but it will be in string format, so we need to convert that into double data type because we are working with a double data type. So double dot phrase, and it will be given to distance. Same for hours and fuel. One message will be printed, enter the hours equal to double dot phase and what console.readLine to get the value. To enter the value of fuel, and that will be given to fuel. Now all the three data values have been received. Now what we need to do is we need to pass this value through constructor. But here object first time object created only for drive class. Drive class object have been created using drive class constructor, and I am passing all the three data members to it. And what the drive class constructor will do, it will pass all the three values to base class constructor. Now I am calling the average and speed function using the drive class object first. First I'm doing is calling the average and speed method using drive class object. Okay. After that what I have done, I have created the object of base class and I have given the reference of drive class. If you can see, I have created the object of base class, but I have given the reference of drive class object. Now I am again trying to call average and speed but using the base class object. Now we will see the output. It is asking me to enter a distance, I will enter. It is asking to enter some time, I will ask to enter fuel 13. So some message have been displayed. If I will compare with the main method, in main method you can see first average method have been called using the object of drive class. Then the speed method using the object of drive class. So see here in the output, it is showing according to drive class, like car average is this, car speed is this. Okay. When I have created the object of base class using drive class and I called average method, then average method worked for base class. You can see it is printing for vehicle. Vehicle average is this. But the speed method, worked only for drive class, not for base class. Hope so you are getting my point. I have called the both method, first using drive class, second using base class. But the average method is being called according to base class also, drive class also. But the speed method have been called only for drive class. Why? Because we have overridden the speed method. Okay, we have overridden the speed method. Okay, and when I am storing the object reference of drive class to base class, then first preference will be given to overridden method. So that is why the second time also the drive class method was called, not base class. But the average method base class also having its own. So then base class method will be given preference. Be clear that if no virtual and abstract method, then base class method will be called. But if there is a virtual and overridden method, then drive class method will be called. Okay. Is there any doubt in these two programs, properties and this abstract, this virtual and overridden? Yes, students. Is there any doubt
No,
in
ma'am.
these two programs? Clear?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So the last program that we will discuss today is very simple and small program. Is based on the abstract class and abstract method. We have discussed this. What is abstract method? Means, sorry, abstract class whose object will not be created. It will have some abstract method, and we will define this abstract method in the drive class. Using drive class we can assess these methods. Okay, so here under namespace abstract class method, the base class and drive class have been defined. Now to define or to clear that this particular class is abstract class, we have discussed that the class will be defined using abstract keyword. So this is the starting of abstract class. Now in this particular abstract class, this name is offer letter, means in this program one offer letter will be generated, means usually we will print that this particular person have been joined into this particular institute or the company on this particular date, all those things. So one offer letter we need to create. Okay, so in this abstract class there are 4 abstract methods. Okay, you can see with the abstract keyword these methods have been defined. So 4 abstract methods are there. First is to present the name of some person maybe. Second to represent the designation. Third to represent the payment or the pay, or you can say salary. And fourth is the date of join. So all these methods are receiving some parameter. Name is receiving some name. It is receiving designation, pay, date of join. So these 4 are abstract method. Now these are only declared inside the abstract class, not defined. Other than that, there are 4 methods that are non-abstract, that have some implementation. Okay. So first is to press somewhere, wherever in the offer letter you want to print the company name, you can call this method to print the company name. So the company name, return type is string, and it will return some string, and inside that it is returning one message that XYZ some corporate company is there. Okay. Then office address. So wherever in the offer letter office address need to be printed, you can call office address method and it will return string type data. So inside that return some string. that is showing some address of the company. Next method is company branding, means some information about the company, what is the licensed or private, public, some information. So whatever the information you want to give. So it will also return string, and inside that I am using return statement to return some string. But here how I want to return a message is first a company name should be there, after that some message. So first I am calling the company name method. If we have seen here company name method, so using this means current object dot company name I will call. It will make a call to this method and this message will get printed here. After that, concatenating with some message that it is a privately registered corporate operating under the licensed slash n means the remaining line will move to next line under the license provided by the state of New York. So this is the third method. The fourth method, which is not abstract, is public string disclaimer, and this will return a message. Again return this letter and its content are confidential in the nature and intended only, and after that the remaining will be moved to next one. So this is the whole message. After that, like the format to print a offer letter in that, after this line the company name, company address should get printed. So you can see after the message concatenation operator, then again company name function have been called, this dot company name plus space, after that the company address function will be called. So this is to print a proper offer letter, all the lines. So this is the abstract class having 4 non-abstract method and 4 abstract method. The non-abstract methods are printing general information about company, company name, company address, like basic information about company and the disclaimer. Now the class which is inheriting this class, that is print of the letter. So offer letter will be the abstract class that will be inherited by the class. Now here we are overriding the abstract methods that we have defined, these 4 methods. Now these 4 methods will be used to get the information about the person whose offer letter need to be generated. So here public using override, we are defining that this is a implementation of some base class method. It will receive some name, so that name will get returned. Same override method will override keyword will tell this is the base class. Designation method, it is receiving some designation value that will be returned when this particular method will be called. Again override return integer type, it will receive some integer value and that will get returned when this function will be called, and same for date of join. So now all the classes, their implementation have been done. Now we will come to the main method. In main method, first I have created the object of print of a letter, that is our drive class. I have created one object LTR. Okay. Now I have given some value as we need employee name, because we will pass all these value, to these 4 overridden method, and they will return these values whenever this overridden method will be called. So the employee name with the type string and some value. Designation also is of string type, having some designation, and date of joining is also of string type, and int pay. Okay, so 4 values we need to pass to overridden method. So 4 values have been created here. So now one message. First, what I want to print in the is company name. So we have seen that to call the company name, what we will do is we will use the object dot company name function. So here the same thing as we done. Plus one message, it is very happy to extend this letter to which person we want, they want to give this letter, to the person employee name, and where that employee name is this employee name. So we will call the name method, the name overridden method, this name method, and we will pass the employee name. You can see employee name have been passed, and it will return that name whenever it will be called. At the designation of, what designation? Again we need to call a designation method. We will pass designation value using the object, and that will be given to designation method, and designation method will return again one message with the annual pay of. What is the pay? Using payment method we will get the pay. First we are passing the pay value. Pay value have been defined here. Okay, so this is the one line. The next line that will get printed is console.write line. You are required to report at some particular address. So to get the office address, we are calling office address function. From which date the person need to join? Using date of joining function, we will pass the date of joining, this date of joining, and that this function will return. After that, some information about the company. So console.write line object.company grading function, that which was having information about the company's private or licensed company, and then disclaimer using the object.disclaimer. So this is to print the format, some offer letter. So if I will debug this program, you can see the output. First, according to the output that we are printing here, first object.company name should get printed. So you can see here XYZ corporate private limited is getting printed. Then it is very happy to extend, so that message get printed. After that, the object.name of the employee that get printed. So in that way, after that salary get printed. You are required to report at the address get printed here, the date of joining get printed here. Again, the company name we called here. Okay, so company name, because when we call the company grading function, inside that function first we called company name, and then that it is a privately owned, and after that the disclaimer. So this is the offer letter using the abstract methods and abstract class. All these three methods, all these three programs are based on the second module.